Hello, my friends, and welcome to E3 with John Guns. Today is a special day. It's my birthday, my 58th birthday, but not only mine, but my twin sister's 58th, 70th birthday. Mine is 58, and theirs is 70. And so God is good, man. It's been an amazing weekend, really. My first commencement celebration ceremony at a School of Theology, Virginia Union, and then Mother's Day, and spending quality time with my amazing wife, our three beautiful daughters, our son in love, and our two grandsons. Then today was real quiet. It was me just spending time with my wife and our middle daughter. Our oldest, of course, is working. Our youngest is in school. Grandsons in school, and our son-in-law in school. So it was just us before Deja had to get back to Orlando. So that's been my day. Getting ready now for church at 7 o'clock. So I hope that sisters and brothers, because I got a feeling this is going to be a revival. So instead of, just make it just about women, let's just have a revival. And of course, because it's Women's Week, we're kind of bootlegging it, but I'm excited. So today's my 58th birthday. So I want to drop some nuggets on you from my journey, from my experience as a man who is, I kind of woke up this morning, came to terms with something very powerful. I'm no longer the young guy. I am now a father, legitimately in the Christian world. I'm now, what people call a general. I'm now an example and a mentor, more as much as I am a student and a learner. Wow, man, it felt different today. For some reason, I feel the weight of 58, of 37 years in ministry, of over 30 years of pastoral ministry. I feel the demand of it now, and so I want to drop some knowledge on you, and I want to frame it. And for everybody who's going to take time to watch today, I want to frame it under this idea of performing at your highest level so that no one can ignore who you are. Performing at your highest level so no one can ignore who you are. Now, let me be very, very clear. I'm not talking about being someone who needs attention, because I'm not talking about getting attention. Because if attention is all you're pursuing, then you're going to really be an unhealthy person. I'm talking about living a life so extraordinary until no one can ignore who you are, while you're not seeking their attention. You're not seeking their applause. You're not seeking their compliments, but your life is so extraordinary until people are drawn to you. And here's what's interesting. When people are drawn to you, now comes benefits associated with the excellence of your life. Wow. When people are drawn to you, there are benefits that come with the excellence of your life. There's also, there's also criticism. There's also negativity. But oftentimes that's because people are functioning out of jealousy and envy. And there's nothing you can do about that. And so one of the things I want to do on this 58th birthday is I want to talk about, in a very real way, how can someone live successful to the point that now you stand out. You are such a high performer. And what comes with that is opportunities and doors and resources and investment into you. Okay, so let's just kind of step back. And this is a quote by Dr. Seuss. And the quote says, "What's the point of fitting in when we were meant to stand out?" What's the point of fitting in when we were meant to stand out? I want to suggest for you that a high performer, in whatever context or industry they're in, will always be given the kind of healthy attention that affirms and reassures their place in the earth. A high performer will always be given the proper attention. Because when you are a high performer, when you are a Michael Jordan in basketball, when you are a Sue Bird in WNBA, when you are a Tiger Woods in golf, when you are a W.B. Du Bois, when you are a Harriet Tubman, when you are a Mary Bethune McLeod or a Mary McLeod Bethune, when you are someone who just kind of transcends the average, when you are someone who is brilliant and that brilliance comes out, when you are someone who excels in an industry, what's going to happen is that you're going to find yourself in these kind of awkward places where people are going to want to be with you, but there's also going to be people who are going to be against you. So one of the things that causes you to stand out is that you're a high performer. One of the other things that causes you to stand out is that you are the creator of something that is innovative. It's amazing to watch someone, to watch an innovator, to watch a forward-thinking person, put that in the thread, to watch a forward-thinking person, to put them in a context and see how they transform that context, because they're so energized by possibilities and opportunities until nothing stops them and nothing blocks them, right? You know, the creativity comes even in the crisis, and you find them kind of rising to the top. My brother said something to me today. He said, he said, John, clearly, Seminary on Sunday paid off for you. And I was like, well, I guess so, right? Because it really kind of created the soil for me to now be stepping in to some new and exciting places. But here's the other thing. When you are willing to provide a skill that improves the quality of life of others, why was Dr. Martin Luther King so revered? There was a lot of people making speeches. Now, he was eloquent, but there was a lot of people making speeches. There were a lot of people who were on the cutting edge in terms of civil rights movement. But what made Dr. King so unique, in my opinion, is that the way he spoke to people filled a void that was necessary for them to be inspired to fight forward. The way he spoke, the manner by which Dr. King approached this assignment, the fact that his skill set fit a need, the need was inspiration. And here's the thing that I've discovered is when you fit a need, you change everything around you. When your skill set meets the need of people. On Sunday, we have our 10th anniversary for Operation Save Our Sons. When I think about Operation Save Our Sons and when it started and how God placed it upon my heart, it really started because there was a void in terms of galvanizing and speaking to the life of young Black men. Trayvon Martin had been murdered just a few months earlier. And the burden that God placed upon me brought mothers and fathers together with their sons. And still today, people call us to say, can you help me? Because there's a need. What need can you feel in the world? How can you make a difference? How can you change the world? How can you impact the world? So let me offer some what I think are important pieces. I'm not going to be long because we got to get ready for church tonight. But let me offer some important pieces here. One is that this whole idea of standing out, again, is not about attention. It's about performing at a high level. It's about being the creator of something that meets the need, that is innovative, that is forward-thinking. It's about providing a skill set that fills the voids and the gaps that we see in our world. To become a person that stands out, and in this season of my life, that's what's happening for me. God has me standing out to the point that people are now looking at the work that I'm doing at the Virginia Union. People are looking at the work that I'm doing in St. Paul. People are going, man, he's excelling. Well, I'm not excelling because I'm better than anybody. That's the point. This is not about superiority. Sometimes it's about survival. Sometimes it's about just simply doing the work, just simply putting yourself out there and trying. So I want to suggest a couple of things. One, that you have to become a person who will serve beyond the norm. You have to be a person who serves beyond the norm. What does that mean, John? When you serve beyond the norm, that means that you embrace the opportunity to give your best while others are just simply giving what's required. No, you go beyond the requirement when it comes to service. You give the extra hour. You invest yourself in taking on some of the expected demands of greatness in your industry, in your vocation, in your pursuit of education. You work harder than everybody else. It doesn't mean that you're better, right? It means that you understand that investment is what's vital to your sustainability. And so there's this idea of being a person that goes beyond. We have an award in our church called the Extra Mile Award, and it's named after a deacon by the name of Deacon Levi Benjamin. Deacon Levi Benjamin was a man who did whatever it took for us to be successful. He did not fear. He was not apprehensive. He was a man that understood what it meant to be great because he served the extra mile. You got to be a person who goes beyond, because going beyond is where you succeed. People who are stuck in the right now will always be someone who fails at life. People who only do just enough will never be enough. You got to have the courage to go the extra mile. And you have to add to this courage. Now, I just said that, right? Courage to go the extra mile. You got to add to going the extra mile, courage. John Maxwell once said, courage isn't the absence of fear. It is doing what you are afraid to do, letting go of the familiar, and forging ahead into new territory. Let me make sure you get that. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It is doing what you are afraid to do, letting go of the familiar, and forging forward into new territory. This is probably one of the most important dynamics of courage that I've ever read, because this is really my life. On Saturday, I had the privilege of presiding over a commencement ceremony. Never thought that would ever be the case for me. But one of the things, as I stood up there, I understood that I have gotten through a whole year of the unfamiliar, forging into my future, because something about what God has given to me, and a part of it is, yes, my ancestors, those who've gone on before me, those who have poured into me, those who have parted into me, my father who is still here, but the strength of this man at 95 to continue to do the work that he has been doing with his life, and my mother who's gone on to be with the Lord, who courageously modeled for me the courage to live and be the woman of God that she was so amazing at being. And one of the things that I began to discover is that courage does not mean that you are not afraid. Courage does not mean that you do not have concerns and sometimes doubts. What courage does mean is that while alongside of me is fear, what comes alongside of me is faith. And faith pushes fear until fear is no longer the controlling factor and faith is. I come to something and I have fear. So for all of you that God is trying to take you into new and exciting places, but you are dealing with fear, understand that the fear is not a negativity. Embrace the fear, but don't empower the fear to control you. Let's go a little further. It's about forging in a new territory, going into spaces that are very new, very fresh, which requires two things of you. First of all, and I keep saying this, you become a student again. But second of all, you become an example. People start to notice your life, and now you can begin to say to them, trust my journey, because you can trust the journey that you've seen. Trust my journey because you can trust the journey that you've seen. Oftentimes, those who are courageous are willing to take risk. are willing to put themselves in the posture where failure is possible, and with failure comes criticism and critique. It's your willingness to put yourself out there to the point that other people could be watching or will be watching and making assessments about you. It's about expanding your space and holding courageously on to that which you're willing to become. And what's so amazing is that in this, you have convictions that initially are existing, but you have convictions that are created or become important to you. You have convictions, you have things that you believe, you have values that are developed and defined, and you go forth. And so when someone looks at someone who is a high performer, someone who is creative and innovative, someone who provides a skill set that meets the need, when someone looks at someone who is rising to new and exciting places, the one thing that you cannot miss is that they have been willing to make sacrifices to produce it. Do you have anything you're willing to make yourself uncomfortable in doing? Is there anything that you're making yourself uncomfortable? Is there anything that you are doing right now or that you're being called to do that's making you uncomfortable? You've got to be able to take risk. You got to be able to take risk. So let me say a couple of things and I'll be done. In this taking risk, in this standing out, in this making sacrifices, in this forging forward, in this thinking differently, here's what you got to be able to do. You got to be able to embrace being different. Anita Riddick once said, whatever you do, be different. If you're different, you'll stand out. I'm not suggesting to you that you are intentionally rebellious and that produces your difference. No, I'm talking about you are genuinely pursuing being the best person you can be. And in turn, God is allowing your life to become a life that is recognized by others as a life of excellence and quality. So let me suggest a couple of things. One, you have to cultivate the way you think, because thinking is a valuable part of producing greater things. You have to become a thought leader. You have to become a person who thinks. Secondly, you have to embrace creativity or embrace the creativity of others that will inspire you to be creative. But here's the last thing. You must develop the ability to be a good communicator. That is not big words. A good communicator is someone that can communicate or can express vision, can express thoughts and ideas, can be a part of kind of shaping the way other people think. Yaba Bird once wrote, words are singularly the most powerful force available to humanity. We can choose to use this force constructively with words of encouragement or destructively using words of despair. Words have energy and power with the ability to help, to heal, to hinder, to hurt, to harm, to humiliate, and to humble. Words have power. So you must understand the power of your words. And then you must attach to your words, put this in the thread, you must attach to your words integrity. On Friday, when we were in our session, when we were in graduation rehearsal, I made a promise to our graduating seniors who are in the military that we would buy cords. The great thing is that the team around me also heard it, so they were willing to make me accountable to what I promised. When the gentleman was given his cord, his graduation cord, he hollers out before all of the graduating class, promise kept. It was in that moment that people began to applaud. And it was amazing, that moment, because basically what this man said was that you said you would, you did, so now we trust you more. Well, let me show you how your words will be accomplished. Not just with your actions, but by building a team around you that is as committed to your integrity as they are committed to theirs. Wow, that's good. You got to have people who make you keep your word. One of the things about my wife is that she makes me keep my word. Now, I want to keep my word. So that's the first thing. I want to keep my word. But sometimes you forget, or sometimes you get sluggish and slow, and you need people who can help you keep your word. Wow. How do you keep yourself clean then in this process, standing out? Practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. Some of the stuff I say over and over, because I really want you to get it. Practice gratitude. You'll never be great. You'll never do anything great if you're a constant cynic, because eventually cynics lose the platforms and the opportunities. Eventually. Finally, you got to dream. You got to dream big, y'all. You got to dream big and dream so big until a plan is birthed out of the dream. When the plan is birthed out of the dream, execution becomes a priority. Listen, I love you guys. Thank y'all for taking time. I pray everybody will either be in place or view tonight our Women's Week, tonight and tomorrow. Thank you for your time and for your energy. I appreciate you. Thank all of you who've done anything for my birthday. And if you still want to bless me for my birthday, Ray will provide some information. There's no pressure. Typically I don't even make that statement. So, but I must admit it's been a blessing for people who love me enough and respect what I do and appreciate what I do to sow into me. So thank you for that. Listen, have an amazing day. I got to get to church, but know this: you are built for this. Seize the moment. God bless. We'll see you on